Hey guys, welcome to my live stream. Good morning. Hey, hope you are doing all right. How's it going? Great to see you. Yeah, yesterday was a little cut short eventually. I think I ran out of battery or something like that. But yeah, hope everything's all right for you. Great to see you. And again, everyone else, welcome to my live stream. I'm glad to be back. Once again, I have a lot of stuff to do today. Want to talk about a few things. Have the chili again. Just having a look at the chili, and I have seen we have a seedling germination here, like in the ones that we have planted recently. I'm not sure what it is, but I believe it's something like pumpkin. Yeah, I want to look into that. Yeah, and we'll discuss a few more things today. For one, I might actually post a video on the channel, a little advertising video for my book, just to show my book. It's not an ad, like it's not a paid ad, something like that. I just want to show my book a little bit more because I'm currently emptying out my office. I'm kind of getting out of the book business. Here's a question: can I use fertilizer on cactus in winter? That depends on if you have them, like if you have them at room temperature. If you are growing them inside at a normal, like 20 degrees Celsius, like indoor temperature, then you need to water them. Then they need light, and then they need fertilizer. If you have them in winter, like if you're trying to have them a little bit hibernating at lower temperatures, then they should be relatively dry, not get too much water, not get any kind of fertilizer. I personally do not fertilize like in winter at all. I usually start fertilizing at the beginning of spring, and yeah, really early, maybe February. But during the real winter months, unless this is a plant that you have inside, I wouldn't fertilize it. The more humidity you have in the soil with the cacti over winter, the more dangerous it gets for them on the long term. So yeah, wanted to show you my little chili here that I brought. Check it out. This thing's really starting to grow big, and it's starting to flower here. I think I'm looking forward seeing these, to be honest. I'm really looking forward to I mean, I think it's time to plant it in a bigger pot. And I want to do that within some of the next live streams, but I'm incredibly proud. I've never grown them before, and it's just a nice thing to do. I really enjoyed that. And yeah, this is a cultivar called Cayenne Chocolate. Something like that, yeah. We will see. I will look up photos on the internet, but I'm pleased with the results so far. They haven't been hard to grow. The only thing that I noticed at one point, they had some sort of a weird kind of remnants on the leaves. I cleaned them very well. I showered them a little, sprayed them with the water spray, and now it's good. So yeah. Here's some of the smaller ones that I also have here. All different cultivars that I just got from seeds from eBay. Yeah, and they look okay. I want to water them today. I just want to show them to you first. I'm not really using I'm not really using a lot of pesticides, and if I do, I would not do it in winter. I would, like, when you're using a pesticide, there's always the risk that the plants will kind of react badly, that you will lose plants. And if that happens in winter, that is so hard to stop. Sometimes in winter, when the fertilizer concentration is too harsh, you will get discolorations on the skin. And if you have high humidity, that can be extremely dangerous for the plants. So yeah, I wouldn't really use a lot of that unless it's really a plant that you're growing inside in a grow tent with a lamp, and everything that is part of it: watering, fertilizing, then you might apply a pesticide like, let's say, neem, for example, neem oil, that kind of stuff, or the active ingredient in neem. Yeah, you could apply that if you are growing them at room temperature. Okay, yeah, this one I wanted to show you. It looks a little weird. How to prevent mealybug. Okay, don't reuse soil. Do not reuse soil, at least not for seedlings. Like within the first years, if you have something inside, try not to reuse the soil. Try to change soil as often as possible. And when you do that, clean the roots very well. Then I want to, like, you need to water them. Like you can't have these times in between when the seedlings don't get a lot of water, or when the plants don't get a lot of water, because that kind of encourages mealybug. They can thrive if there's not that regular rain, that regular water that just washes them away sometimes. So spray the plants, make sure that you have something like a water sprayer where you can give them that little rainy sensation, because that often cleans off pests. And yeah, if you see them somewhere, if you have a container with fungus gnats, really treat it. If you have one and you put it back with the others, it can start fresh. They are incredibly hardy. A lot of breeders that I personally know, they live with them. In the last years, I started to go really harshly against them. Last time I've been using neem oil as a treatment, and it works, but it has risks. Any kind of oil always has the potential to burn the skin. And yeah, but with mealybug, they are just such a bad pest that you have to choose which evil you want to have, So yeah, my recommendation is to treat them very, very aggressively. Yes, I was born in Saarland, Germany, so I consider myself a born Saarländer. But yeah, I'm pretty proud actually of my background. So yeah, just wanted to say we will spray the chili later today, and now I want to go through the containers of seedlings. I have a lot of cactus seedlings, and most of them need water. So yeah, and I also want to repot a few of them. I have cleaned new pots. By the way, with the mealybug, every day before I do the live stream, when I bring pots, when I reuse pots, I make sure they are incredibly clean. Like I would not bring in an uncleaned pot from outside into the house, because the mealybugs are so hardy. Sometimes you have one little piece that you do not see. So I recommend to always clean the pots well if you reuse them. Otherwise they spread. Okay. Let's try it with this. And every time I will show you the seedlings and then we discuss what we do. Okay, let's start with these here. These have been repotted recently. This is already the second generation of soil that we have been using on the live stream. And this is just classic sowing soil. Seedlings have been planted in that maybe a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, something like that. And the seedlings just start to grow again. When you transplant, you always have that stress in the beginning. And this is looking much better now. You often have to, within the first week or two, you often lose a few seedlings after transplanting, just because they, you always lose a few, always stress them a little. Transplanting in general is stressful. And yeah, so after a certain while, you can start to say, okay, these are relatively safe. They have reached a relatively safe size. And these are at that point now where I feel, okay, unless we bring something like fungus gnats back into the whole equation, these will be good. We will repot them when they run out of space. For now, they are good in the small pot. I just want to water them. Whoops. Fungicide, I don't really use a lot of fungicides. There's like a little bit you can use that kind of mild hydrogen peroxide, like 1.5%, you know, like really diluted, where I can use it, and it will also be a little bit of a fungicide. Or you could maybe use sulfur. Sulfur is a pretty mild fungicide that you can also use as a preventative. And yeah, but once you have an infection, it's hard to heal. And it would have to be a very important plant that I would really start treating it long term with a fungicide. You can do it. It's definitely possible. But there, you know, it is also easy to have a relapse, kind of relapsing plant. So very often when I see fungal infection, I feel like the mistake has already been made long before. When I see a fungal infection, I see care mistakes that I did maybe 2 years ago, you know, and so I try to learn from that and try to prevent it. It's a lot easier to prevent fungal infections than to heal them, even with a fungicide. But there are some cases where it can really make sense. So if you have one that works, that's great. It's just nothing that I have so many seedlings, and eventually the fungal infections, you always lose a few here and there. But it's the best way to prevent that is by treating the plants well, watering them well, giving them fertilizer when they need it. And that kind of already prevents most fungal infections from happening. And if they happen, it's always a reason that something went wrong, that they might not have gotten a big enough pot. Very often that is the case, you know. Hey, mate. Oh, yeah. I've heard about that too. Some kind of spicy pesticide, something like that. I've seen that before. So yeah, I have used a lot of a wide variety of plant extracts in the past. Today, I went back to the basics a little bit. Today, I'm mostly trying to give water on a regular basis, good soil, and fertilizer in a good one, and that is often enough. So yeah, I want to water these again. Check it out. A little bit more. It always takes a while until the water sinks in. What's going on here? Why isn't it not spraying in the center? Okay, yeah, good. And these will come back under the plant lamp. Just a little bit of sunlight every day, not much, not excessive, just maybe 12 hours, and then they will grow. I just wanted to dry the soil so I can water it again at another day. I don't like when the soil stays dry, it stays wet for too long, and that's what the plant lamp is good for. These here 3 little seedlings, you can only see the mineral deposits there, and they are always there when the soil really dries out and you have it in the water. But yeah, they need water here in this case. Do you incorporate seaweed fertilizer? I did for quite some time. I like the last time I bought one was maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it was a good product. It always promoted quite a good positive growth, and even within short time, when I sprayed that on the seedlings, it was always great. I had bad experience with the smaller seedlings, like seedlings of really that size, because the seaweed and the algae kind of started. I don't know. I often had algae problems in the pots then. So yeah, when I used it, I always tried to keep it relatively down to avoid that the soil would become too much of an algae problem. But it helps. It promotes healthy growth. Many different interesting plant extracts that can be used as to positively influence the health of the plants. I would probably use that. I would probably still use it from time to time, but it's all, you know, everything has become more expensive. I had calculated that I was paying ridiculous amounts for fertilizer or kind of these plant extracts, and then I had to scale it back a little, like when the market kind of shifted, went a little bit down, so I had to make it work without the plant extracts. But the plants looked much better back then, so it's definitely worth it sometimes. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, these need water here. One is, oops. Oh, come on, I just need it in center, but misty. In the lowest setting, it sprays everywhere all around, but not in center. And the one in center, has too much pressure. Okay. Yeah, these are relatively small, but they are growing, so I have hope. This is probably something interesting. Let me have a look at the label. I think I know what it is. Yeah, this is Echinopsis glauca. And I'm quite happy to have seedlings here. And it's a rare species. I don't have that many plants from my crosses with it. And it's good to have these. I want to get them to adulthood. I want to have these as large plants eventually. So I will take a little bit more care to water these on a regular basis. They're a little smaller, so they need more water from time to time. A little bit more than the others. But they look okay for now. These have been weak from the beginning, so I repotted them early, and it was good that I did, because now in the new soil they look better. Okay, these also need water. So yeah, earlier today, before the live stream, I filmed the video for our Trichocereus Facebook group, where I kind of started on Facebook moderating in groups in the Trichocereus group. And yeah, I want to do more of that in the future. I just wanted to say that I recorded a video that I will post later today, just discussing what I want to do with the group. I've kind of pulled back a little from group moderation, but that's just a group that I enjoyed being in for fun. And I want to, spend a little bit more time there, moderating a little bit more. So check it out. There will be a video later eventually. Yeah. So these here need water, and that's pretty much the only thing. Fertilizer, they get once a month for now. I don't want it to be too much, because otherwise I could promote also the competition that wants to eat the seedlings, or the weeds that can thrive on a over-fertilized soil. Always trying to keep it a little bit on the dry side too. Do you ever boil vegetables on a steamer? No, I do not. I'm not really that big of a. I have the cooking habits of a teenager. I'm just currently not. Like the day is too short that I can spend all that time for cooking. I did that in the past, but right now I'm just barely getting through the day with all the work that I do. I have to care for the animals and all that, and it adds up during the day. So yeah, I usually just make me a sandwich or something like that. I never really put a lot of work into cooking. Maybe one day if things get a little easier, but I'm not there yet. I just don't have that mental, to really sit me into the kitchen and do nothing for hours apart from cooking. Just having that being able to mentally be at that point where you do nothing for 2 hours, then just focusing on something like cooking. I would love to do that one day, but right now I'm not there yet. Okay, a little bit more water now. And these have to be repotted very soon. This is still the first generation of soil that we have used on the live stream. And at some point, all of those will come into new soil. So let's spray the chili a little bit here. That one needs water too. And I also want to make sure that I spray the leaves a little, in order to prevent that thing coming back that I saw last time I had it. It felt a little bit like it could be scale, some sort of a soft scale, but now it's gone. But yeah, this might have to go into a bigger pot very soon. This is the size. I'm sure if I put that into, yeah, it's already root bound, so we will have to repot that very soon. I will try to get me a bigger pot for this, because it's already flowering, and at that point it might need a little bit more nutrients. We would see. But apart from that, it looks good. This is the most beautiful one that I have so far. The others, they are growing, but not so fast. A little bit behind some of them. This one here needs water now. It's also a chili. And I almost lost it in the beginning. The ones that are smaller, they had been a little bit more disadvantaged. So I just want to water this. And eventually, I'm not sure what happened here, but here's a large part of the soil is missing. I suspect it washed out. Yeah, and that one will be repotted very soon too. I realized that it falls over. So maybe we can stabilize that little guy. So I have these little labels that I found during cleanup. And I will lift that one up, just to keep it above the soil. I don't want it too close to the soil. I don't want the seedling to fall over all the time, you know, just adding a little bit of stability to it. You could also wrap a little, I have a little metal wire that you can wrap around it, and that would give it like, or a little piece of wood like this here. Let's do this. Let me see where I have the wire. Yeah. Okay. And this is for the labels. This is for when I'm doing cactus pollinations. I usually wrap the label around the flower with something like this. And what I will do now is I will just put this thing in here for the seedling, and I will kind of wrap that little piece of wire around the seedling to give it a little bit stability. And sometime within the next weeks, we have to start putting together new labels for the new season. Today, by the way, today's the start of the watering season. Like today, I would start watering really a lot. I already have the water hose ready, and I will start today. So yeah, here's that little piece of wire, and I would just wrap it around that plant here and tie it to that pole. Gotta get a little bit closer to it because I don't want to pull it too close downwards. It's already relatively, it's not that tall. And I'm not sure why. Probably because the seedling was already a little bit troubled. Oh, come on. Can you not? Okay. Yeah, this is okay. It's not great, but it's better than it was before. Let me get this up here. A little bit higher up. Okay. Good. So this will go back to under the plant lamp. A little bit more water now. And eventually I will remove that piece of metal again. I don't want it to stay there long term. This isn't something that you do forever. You could, and the plant would probably get used to it, but it's just unnecessary. Like if the plant will eventually grow into a different direction, then that's okay. I just do this to provide stability in the first months when it's a little bit important that it stays away from the soil. I'm just running out of the last remaining soil that I have, and that I will order a new one. Like I said earlier, I have posted a little bit about the books that I added to the shop, and next time I'm getting an order, I will get me a new bag of like a few more bags of soil, and then we can start again. Few bags of soil, a few bigger pots, and yeah, and then they will repot it. For now, I'm just trying to see how much they need. You know, I'm letting it happen naturally, and when I see that they are root bound, then I say, okay, now we have to find something bigger for them. I haven't really that big of, like, I don't have a lot of pots available right now. They are always in use, and I will get new ones very soon. So yeah, this needs a little water, and this seedling here always looked weird, always looked variegated, partially variegated. Check it out. I'm not sure what's going on there, honestly. This could also be a genetic thing, like a certain cultivar. I'm not sure, but the leaves look different than all the others. This could also be something that's not healthy. This was a weak seedling. Sometimes you have weak seedlings that develop problems like this. Okay, this one needs water too. Little bit of spraying the leaves. Yeah, it's weird. I have that one chili that has grown incredibly fast, and the others are way behind. I'm not sure why. I mean, sometimes you have stronger cultivars than others, but in this case, it's really substantial. Maybe I also have to water them more. That one plant that has that big advantage, that was the plant that I put in the time-lapse video, and during that time, I've been spraying it all day long. Maybe we need to give them more water. Right now, I'm mostly watering them like cactus seedlings, and that might not be enough. Who knows? We will see. Oops. Okay. Yeah, let's bring in a few more of the seedlings that I have here. This is too big. This bothers me. I will get the other thing here. It's not clean, but it will allow me to show everything a little bit close up, a little bit closer. Okay. Yeah. These are roughly 3 months old, and I feel like we should be repotting them, taking them into the new soil now. And yeah, that's what I want to do. I would spray the seedlings now. I want the soil to be a little bit flexible, wet, and then we can just pull the seedlings out of the soil and push them into the new one. So just let me get my gloves. I have a big pot of soil below the desk. I have cleaned new pots today again. Always put a lot of effort into bringing just clean pots, because if you have problems that get into the house, it can be really hard to get rid of them again. So let's see. Where's that pot? Okay. And this is just sowing soil. Classic sowing soil, nothing special, nothing fancy. I just want to have a soil that dries out fast, but still is able to retain the water for a while. That's just something that a lot of the mineral soil or mineral mixes that people use, they are very fast draining, and that sometimes has a price. Sometimes that price is just that the seedlings, if something goes bad, the seedlings will dehydrate fast, and you might have a harder time saving them. If it goes well, if there are no problems, mineral soil is great, but the moment something goes wrong, you have an issue. Because I don't want to. I just want to have, I want to work with just nothing but sowing soil. I don't want to work with minerals anymore. I don't like to work all around minerals all the time. A lot of cactus breeders have like these issues, respiratory issues, lung issues. A lot of cactus breeders get COPD and lung cancer, you know. So I'm trying to stay away from anything that is too mineral. And this soil here, this already has a little bit of, I think it has perlite added to it, and it has all that I need. I have worked many years with mineral soil. I've worked with every kind of mineral medium. I've worked with sand. I've worked with pumice. I've worked with lava, with expanded clay. And I'm at a point where I can make it work without that, you know? Like, there are certain plants that really need minerals, you know, all those Mexicans and the really drainage-loving kind of cacti, and I would still grow these in a maybe pumice, washed pumice, you know? But everything else, like the plants that I grow here, I can grow them in soil, and it greatly... It makes things easier for people that watch that stuff and want to try it out, you know? If we would use a mineral here, it would change a lot about the watering. Right now, I'm already barely getting them all watered. The more like drainage I add to that, the worse it gets. And I like that the seedlings have a few hours to take in the water. Yeah, it's less about, like, if I would just... Let's say I would just want to pick the medium that's best. I would probably work with a mineral pumice-based medium. Pumice and, you know, sand is also a good thing to add in a small percentage, in a really small percentage. But again, I was heavily ill, and I want to start keeping an eye on my lung now. My great grandfather had a you know, was a miner, and he had that silicosis, that kind of a classic miner's disease, just from mineral dust and all. And I don't want to have the same kind of ending, you know. So yeah, that's mostly the reason. And also, I really like sowing soil. Okay, so let's move these into the new pot. Oops. Maybe we can, at some point, I'm happy to try out to sow out into sand. I've did it before, even to a point where sown out in pure sand. It wasn't really comparable, like with the growth rates and all, but it was a fun experiment, and I had very little problems with stuff like mealybug in sand, because it made it so hard for the pests to survive. So sometimes when I have mealybug issues, I sometimes pot something still in sand, but it's really rare. Okay, yeah, I want to spray the soil here just so I can take out the seedlings. Also watering everything here. The soil will sink down, will sink in, and that gives you a little bit of space, clean space to work. Just looking for my little tweezers that I usually have. I saw them somewhere on the desk, but I'm not sure where. If they are not here, I would do it with a pencil. Yeah. It's here. I have it below. Good. So I will move the seedlings out of the old soil now, just carefully. I don't want to rip off the soil. That is the most important thing. I talk about this almost daily. And it's just the most important thing when you're moving seedlings. Don't rip off the root, and they might recover. If they are not too far gone, they often recover. But they need that root. So I remove the soil from the old pot because I don't want to have them in new soil with nothing but the old root, still surrounded by the old soil. It would take a while until it outgrows that. And you can kind of speed things up if you remove some of that. That will allow the seedling to straight access the new medium. Okay. Yeah, removing everything every time and carefully. It doesn't matter if they lose a little bit of root material here and there, but if they lose the main thing in center, then it's done for usually. And these look okay, but not great. I'm sure when I have them in a better soil, they will look great. It will be positive. Okay, let me see what this is, by the way. Oh, these are seedlings from a hybrid called Angelo, the Lobivia echinopsis hybrid. I think the breeder is Sonja Scheitinger. Yeah, my plant didn't survive, so it's good to have seedlings. Sometimes you're losing when you're losing a plant, and the offspring. Sometimes you're lucky, and the offspring's pretty much a copy of the parent. You know, that can happen sometimes, and I hope that in this case it will be like that. That I will either get an improved version of Angelo, of that hybrid, or at least something that's equally good. Okay. So I'm almost done. I almost have all the seedlings that I wanted to move into the new pot. This one I just saw that I have too much soil that came with into the new pot. So I picked it up again, fixed it. One last seedling, I believe, and then everything starts fresh. Here's another one in the corner that I didn't see. Okay, and what's this? Here's a little seedling that looks really bad, like dehydrated to the point of no return, probably. I could move them back. Sometimes it can make sense to bring these little incredibly dehydrated plants back. But they can also be a source for contamination. So if you want to do that, really keep an eye on them. You cannot put like a close to expired seedlings in a new pot and never check on it again. It could be the start of the fungal infection that ends this. So I want to spray them now. They are just lying on top of the soil, of the new soil, and I filled that thing up. I really wanted to fill it up. And yeah, now we'll start pushing the little seedlings into the soil. And when I do that, I also try to clean up the soil a little bit. This is a piece of wood that comes out. Everything that is too chunky, too big, everything that looks like it could negatively affect the seedlings, that could take away light, that could trap moisture, that could, I don't know, be a great place for a fungal infection to start. If you see that, then take it out. It's always easier to clean up before you have the seedlings in there. And later on, the moment they start growing into something, you might not be able to separate them from that again without completely ripping off the root. Okay. More water. Water is giving you visibility, and it makes the soil easier to work with. This soil should dry up within hours, within just a few. The seedling that we just discussed, that weak seedling, sometimes you can give them a chance, sometimes not. I just looked at that thing and saw that it makes no sense to bring it in. This would just, it has no chance. It already has these areas that will not recover. So this comes out. Yeah, and the other seedlings, I would just push them in the soil now. Carefully in the roots, with the root into the soil. I try to make a little hole with the tweezers, and then I push the seedling in gently, and then I spray them again just to have clean workspace again. Here's a seedling that has a weird discoloration, and I need to look at it. Like the root, the base section almost looks completely transparent, and that is not a good sign. Something has eaten the base of this seedling, and this needs to come out. This is a lost seedling. You will probably not be able to save it. I usually give them a chance, but when I see an injury already, when I see that on an incredibly dehydrated seedling, there's injuries that will make it so much harder for them to make it through. So yeah, when I'm done pushing all the seedlings into the soil, what is that? I'm sorry, my smartphone is already empty again. I'm not sure what's going on there. I will be back in the live stream, but I need half an hour. I'm sorry, I will be back, okay? What's going on here? Oh, come on, man. I'm sorry, the smartphone is already empty again. I'm not sure why. This will go out now. So I will be back as soon as I have charged up that thing. I want to get it to 20%, and then I will be back. Yeah, it bothers me because I have so much that I wanted to do today. Hey guys, I'm back. I apologize for the delay. This is a problem that I keep having with older smartphones, like older Samsung smartphones. Somehow, like the charger, it often slips out. Sometimes the charger becomes unusable, and I need to constantly monitor if that thing's actually in the charger. And yeah, sometimes the live stream kind of runs out of battery power. But I'm back, so apologize again for the delay. But I'm back, and I'm willing to do a little bit longer because of that. So yeah, let's continue. Everyone that I lost earlier, I apologize. I will try to keep an eye on that smartphone charger in the future. I have a new smartphone that I could use to stream, but it never really has reception where I live. So we will see. I might have to change the card, and I will do that if this stays a problem. But apart from that, I will constantly have an eye on the situation of the charger. Right now it's stable at 21%, and that should be enough. So yeah, let's get started. I was in the middle of planting little seedlings, and I will just want to continue with that. So I would spray them a little. The little break gave me a chance to bring new water because I was already running out of water. And yeah, moving the seedlings carefully into the new soil. And everyone, welcome back. I'm back. Great to be here again. I am charging the smartphone as we speak, and I hope it will last. Yeah. So I'm moving the seedlings into the new soil. This is the sowing soil. Seedlings are placed on top of the soil gently, and now I start to push them into it. I'm just spraying them a little bit now that the soil isn't so hard that I don't risk breaking the seedlings. Yeah, and when I'm done with that, we will do something else because I already have a lot of different stuff that I wanted to do in the live stream today. Yeah, and I will be doing a little longer. Therefore, we will see. Maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I just hate doing a live stream that is shorter or that is more like, I don't know. I don't like these breaks when they happen. This was the second time. I really need to keep an eye on that charger. Okay, needs more water. If you are putting in a very tiny seedling, a very fragile one, it might need a little bit extra water. Okay. And I'm always careful not to pierce the skin of the little seedling. That can instantly cause an infection once you start watering them all the time. The more often you water, the more likely you can have issues with a wound. Little wound can turn into a big infection very fast. So yeah, here, these I want to correct a little bit. But apart from that, they look okay. This can go back to the lamp now. And this will take two weeks to settle down, during which the soil will just sink in a little. And I would spray them roughly once a day. And every time I see that there's an issue, we will bring it here in the live stream and correct the seedlings again, like correct the position of the seedlings again. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to show you this. Let's have a look at this for a while. This is something that we have sown out recently. And I've seen that there's a seedling coming out. Check it out. There you see. So this had very fast germination. And this is pumpkin. This is a pumpkin seed. Cultivar called Big Max. And we will report them right away, I think. This is a big kind of seed. Seedling might be big too. So I wanna give that a little bit bigger pot. Let me just get something like this. Let's see, need another one. Just making sure we are getting a clean one. Okay. Now I'll bring the soil. Classic sowing soil, nothing fancy. I don't want to overcomplicate things. I want to have an easy to replicate kind of stuff. Just sowing out. So then I will fill this pot here. Mostly fill it. I want to leave a little space because you always have that. This has a few centimeters here, a little piece that you got to calculate. I don't want to have that be so far above the soil. Check it out here because that can be an issue. It's just you have two different layers of soil, and it's good if this is covered. Not absolutely necessary. You see, it works without, but it might be better. So yeah, I will cover that pot here with soil. Accidentally put a little bit too much on top of that seedling, so I would spray. Want to just get that seedling free again. Carefully, a little bit. Okay, this is enough. This is enough. I can see the seedling here that is coming out. So I would spray that a little. I want the soil to sink down. Also that here. But not too much. I don't want to injure it. Okay, just pressing the soil a little bit closer together. because if it's too loose, eventually once you water it will just wash out of the pot again. Yeah, and this is good. I don't expect much. I don't want to have this doesn't have to be perfect. I don't believe in that perfection. We are just doing stuff. We are trying out, we are making mistakes. They are not real mistakes. We are learning. And yeah, so this is okay for now. I will put that into a big box, like a big transparent box. You know, these kind of plastic transparent boxes where you can put a lid on. And this is where I would put it in. Like this, I would put that into it. Just to give it humidity. Because now, like this was in the bag before to induce germination. I don't like to waste too much space in the beginning when I'm inducing germination, because I so often had seeds that didn't come up anymore. So, and when I have them like this, I can just check, okay, here's a seedling, and the moment I see something is growing, we will instantly move it, give it space. I just don't like to waste space for plants that aren't even here yet. So yeah, this will come into that container, and I need to do that very fast. So I will do it now because I don't want to have any kind of fungus gnat get to it. So I will just put that aside. Okay, I will put that into the container that I have put on the other side here. Oh, come on. Open up. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, and that will stay under the plant lamp now. And I will try to give it a little time. Lot of light now for the seedling, because that seedling will start growing towards the light. And when that thing comes out of that pot, we will decide what we will do. Pumpkin, I expect some sort of a vine-like plant with big kind of fruit, you know? So, yeah, we will see what we do with it when it gets bigger. I try to grow everything inside in the live stream, but it will depend on how it will look. I have never grown like a pumpkin like this. I saw that I found like 1 or 2 seedlings that I had forgotten to put in the new pot here. So let's move these. Oh, no, this one was sorted out, but yeah, this one, it looked better than I thought, so this one goes back in. But that's it. This goes out. I can reuse this kind of soil in the garden, outside, but not in the house. I try not to reuse soil in the house. Like when I'm dealing with seedlings, I do not like when germination failed, I do not try to sow out into it again or that kind of stuff. You know, I try really to avoid these common pests that you can just pull around with you wherever you go, because if you have them in one pot, they can be everywhere. So if we see something, we will treat it right away. That kind of harsh treatment that is necessary when you are dealing inside. We need to clean kind of workspace. So if we see something like mealybug, we will instantly spray them. Yeah, these here, new pot, looking okay. They're growing. They have a little bit more time now. The new soil gives it to them. Lubivia winteriana, I think. And for now, this looks okay. I want to let that dry a little longer. This isn't perfect, you know. This could dry a little bit more. So no water anymore now. These need water. And I also want to have a closer look at what's going on in between the seedlings. I want to see if there's an infection maybe, or if there's a dried up seedling in between these, because it happens very often. Yeah, here. I've seen that. See? And if you have that in between, it's a great breeding ground for fungus gnat, for mealybug. Yeah. apart from that, we should take these apart very soon. They have that kind of shape, that ballish-like shape. When seedlings come up like that, that's bad. I usually try to take them apart. So let's do it, okay? Where's the soil again? Okay. Yeah, and I brought a few pots today, not many. And if they are gone, they are gone. And then I cannot repot anymore. And that's okay. It's just too many anyways. So what's that? Found a piece of plastic in my soil. This is a piece of plastic. I think maybe from a square pot. I haven't had that before. Okay. That's another good reason why you maybe sometimes shouldn't reuse the soil. Who knows what kind of soil it is? Sometimes you just have bad soil with scraps of plastic in it. And if the seedlings already failed once in a soil, maybe something's wrong with the soil. Who knows? So I will water them now, and that just so I can take them apart. Okay. So yeah, carefully removing the seedlings from that ball of seedlings here. This is going to take a while. This is a lot of seedlings. Too many. Maybe we will find problems when we're inside that thing, when we're seeing the seedlings in the middle. Oh, but this is a nice, check this out. This is a nice root for such a small seedling, and it's so straight. This looks weird. Yeah, and I will place the seedlings on top of the soil now. Just getting rid of the old soil, cleaning up a little bit, tearing the seedlings apart. You are tearing me apart, Lisa. Doing my best here. So I will just single them out. And yeah, this could eventually be more than one pot. We will see. A little bit more water. Keeps the workplace clean. And also, I don't like dust. I don't like when I'm working and when everything's dusty. I very much prefer to work with wet soil, wet mineral. When I do something repotting, first thing that I'm doing is usually watering it, just so I can avoid all that dust that you're usually exposed to. Yeah, this looks like it's too many seedlings for one pot. I will fill up the pot until I feel like it's enough. And then I might bring another one. We will see. Maybe it will barely be enough, but I think not. Okay. Yeah, we need another one. This is not flying. This is not flying in one pot. And I just want to say again, like, you have seen how much space we have used up just now within the last 3 months. The live stream is a great experience. You can really go back and look at the beginning of the little cacti. You can see how much space they needed over the years, you know? And that is quite a lot of space. And eventually we will have to sort out here. We will sort out live on the live stream, discuss why we are sorting stuff out. Complete thing, you know? And these are I would love to see the label here, but it's probably somewhere in the pot. I will start moving the seedlings out of the soil here, and then I hope that eventually I will find the label somewhere down I've been using little labels and they are a real pain. They are always gone, always somewhere down in the pot where they don't belong. And if you have like a big big plant, big pot, a tiny label can become like a unlabeled plant, you know? At some point you will just not find the label anymore. The next labels that I'm getting, they are better than the ones that I have here. Okay. Think we will end up with 2 containers, and that's okay. Gives me a little bit more space. If these are good, 2 containers is okay. If they are not, like if they turn out to be disappointing, then instantly I would sort out. So now I want to dig for that label. It's just seen something white, but it's not the label. I'm worried. Here's a seedling. It's another seedling. Come on, where's the label, man? Don't waste my time. I think I need to dump this one out. Let me get this pot here, and I will try to dump it into the other pot so I can maybe find a label down there. And if it's not in there, that's a shame. Doesn't look like it. Just really bad. Yeah, this one didn't have a label. There were 2 or 3 where when I was filming, I was talking all the time, you know, blah, 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 and I was forgetting to write the label. So we will have to grow them out, and eventually later I can roughly tell what it is. You always see the difference between Lobivia and the columnar, you know, the columnar cacti, and you see the difference between Echinopsis and the columns. So it should be possible to identify that, but it's really frustrating. It's now 2 containers without the label. Okay, so I'm watering them now, and then I will push them into the soil, like with the others. And in this case, yeah, quite a lot of seedlings here. I didn't think that on that small. I mean, I've shown it earlier. Could be 80 seedlings. We would see. So yeah, I would just move the seedlings into the soil, push them into the soil. Something falls out of the pot like just now. That's not a problem. Gotta have patience with these. Eventually they will take 5 years to flower, 6, 7 years sometimes. So we have time. We have patience. Growing cacti also means you kind of already accept that some good things take time. And in this case, that's just the case. They need a little longer, but they will reward us when they are flowering. And I'm sure we can identify them eventually. Everything that I've sown out is still great, even if it has a label or not, you know. So we will just grow them now. The fact that they don't have a label isn't that huge deal, but I really try to avoid that. For one, out of respect to the breeder who donated the seeds. These are probably mine, but there's also the chance that it could have been something by another breeder, and I really want to repay that. But you know, when people send me seeds, I appreciate it, and I don't want to lose their label. That is something that's a sign of respect. And yeah, and when it happens, I don't like it. This really shouldn't happen too often. If it happens a few times, it's okay, but gotta keep an eye on that. Okay. Yeah, and I always push the little base, the little root into the soil. Sometimes they just jump out of the pot, but we will get them. Okay. A little bit water again to keep the seedlings clean, to have everything nice and clean. And the small seedlings here, they are the most at risk of instantly expiring within the next 2 or 3 weeks. Moving them means stress, and now I try to leave them alone. But before I leave them alone, they need to have perfect connection to the soil. If they don't, if the little ones, the smallest ones, don't have that connection, they have no chance. So yeah, trying to have the seedlings straight in the soil to keep them from being too close to the soil level. That's where the dirt is, that's where the pathogens are, that's where the enemies of the little cactus seedlings are. So yeah, now the second one. Also, I want to spray these a little, cleaning up, keeping the soil somewhat flexible. I always want to make sure that when I push the seedling in, it doesn't break at the root, and that is just the spot where it would break if the soil isn't ready. And in my opinion, you can really argue about like what kind of a method you want to use, what kind of a soil you want to use. There's so many different ways to grow cacti or plants in general. In my opinion, the one thing that just has to be there is that you respect the seedlings in a way that they get space, they get water on a regular basis, that you don't forget them, you know? That's what I mean, like with respect. You need to keep in mind they are alive, they need water, and they need more water than a lot of people think. Like when people grow seedlings, very often they don't give enough water. There's always that one case where someone overwaters excessively, but if the soil dries out in between watering, you are probably just barely watering enough. Like just if you water and you wait until the soil is dry again, the little seedlings, or some of them can already be dehydrated just from that cycle. So you can't really miss a lot of waterings in between. Like I always try to let the soil dry out so well that no pest can really thrive in the soil. And yeah, and if you follow that, the seedlings might still a little bit like dehydrate a little bit here and there. Seedlings need a lot of water. Water, light, a little bit of fertilizer. But my opinion, like when I often see seedlings on social media, when people ask for feedback, very often the plants they show should have been repotted a few times already. Like for the little seedlings, the more often you repot them, the safer it becomes, because you know that the soil is clean. Like if you keep them in the same soil for way too long, eventually something will go wrong. Eventually the pH level will be at a point where it just promotes fungal infections, where it just promotes damping off, that kind of stuff, and you might not even be able to see it. You might see it when you look at the soil and you see it looks a little bit dirty. Sometimes you look at soil and you have a feeling something isn't okay. And when that happens, repot them. That is usually experience telling you something from plants that you have lost before. That you have lost at an earlier date when the soil looked exactly like that, and then you were losing seedlings afterwards. So yeah, I repot a lot. I wish we could single them out a little bit more due to the space issues that I have. I just brought in new shelves. And long term, I would try to only sow out 30 seeds per container, nothing more. For the future, like in the next live streams where we are sowing out, that we will only sow out small amounts of seeds. I don't want to have these huge containers anymore. Because you see, we've been spending half an hour just with that one container, or maybe a little bit less, but it's just a lot of work to single out containers. And then you have like 200 seedlings. And if one of them isn't, like if one cross isn't good, you have 200 seedlings of a bad cross. Sometimes better to spread it out. Grow 30 here, or only grow 5 here and there. That gives you so much more time to care for the 5 that you have. The one big thing when things go bad with breeders that have big collections, they have so many good plants and they can't let go of them. So, and by having too many, you don't have the space to focus on the important ones. So yeah, that is my recommendation. Don't keep too many of one type. And this is something that I need to tell myself all the time. And this year we're like in the future, the time of when I sown out immense amounts of seeds in one type, they are over. Okay. Yeah, this is pretty okay-ish. Not great, but okay. Seen that another seedling fell down. Okay. Yeah, this will go to the plant lamp now. I have that under a relatively affordable plant lamp, maybe 100 watt. And this is where I have them. Like put them below the lamp on a little shelf, on a little plant shelf. And they will get like 12 hours of light a day. I chose that because I wanted to make sure that the electricity costs aren't so high. Yeah, and they look great then. Just have to repot them. You need space. All the things that I've just said, they are important. These here, I also would like to single out, to move into new pots. Maybe we're doing it. Yeah, they need to be in a new pot. This is just, you can see that there's some dehydration. You can see that the soil has kind of compacted to a point where it's just not that healthy soil anymore. And that's also what I mean when I say I repot often, and it helps. When I repot often, I avoid this kind of soil that becomes just this. This is just solid like a brick. I could just put it back in and it's still, and that is the kind of soil that I don't want to have. So we will transplant these two. So let me get a little bit more soil, and then that will go into a new pot. Yeah, and you see a lot of this whole cactus growing is just seedling repotting, or later you are repotting. I hate repotting, and yeah, unfortunately it's such an essential part of the hobby that you can't really do it without. So yeah, this is now coming from the first generation of soil that we used on the live stream into the second generation. Too deep a little in the pot, and that's what we will fix now. Check it out. Then we will have the seedlings straight up on top here. This will be so much more rewarding to look at later, and they will be healthier because they get more light. So yeah, taking them out of the soil here, and you need to be careful. This is still dry. Check it out. Even now that I sprayed it, some parts below, take forever to take in the water, and that is exactly why I'm doing it, because it takes so long. Normally when I spray the top layer, I want all the seedlings to get enough water, and in this case it's just not sustainable anymore. Okay, this is one of the biggest seedlings that we have. 3 months. And I haven't really, they're not pushed. We are growing them with patience. There's so much time. And if a seedling needs another year or two, then that's okay. And I would just move the seedlings on top of the new soil now. And I try to take them apart into single seedlings. Because that makes them easier to plant them. Makes it easier to plant them. Trying to remove that if the seedlings have a big chunk of soil that looks like it might be keeping the seedlings from taking in water, then you need to clean that up. And this one here is an example for one of the seedlings with a piece of wood. That piece of wood is completely connected, completely fused to the root. I can't remove it without ripping off the main root, so I need to leave it on. And that's why I try to use, when I sow out, I try to sow out in a way there are no pieces of wood lying around on the top layer. If there's a little piece of wood like way down in the pot, it's not that huge deal. But if that thing grows straight into the root, then it could be the end for the seedling. And also you bring in that connection to a piece of wood that can go pretty deep into the seedling. If you have a kind of pathogen, some sort of a fungal infection that is just surviving on the piece of wood, it can be in the seedling in no time when they are so close together. So yeah, moving the seedlings, putting them on top of the soil, just making sure that that I see how many we need, like how much space we have in this pot, and then I will water them, and then we will push them into the new soil. Luckily, here's a label. Yeah, and that's good, because otherwise I would have probably lost it now. Okay. Yeah. Some of the seedlings look interesting, maybe partially variegated. We will see how they will come out long term. Yeah. Okay, here's a small seedling that I also bring over. It doesn't look, it's not big, it hasn't grown normally, but it's also still there and at a very small size. Like, it's older than it looks, and that means it might actually have survived for quite some time already. Might be a good sign that it has the potential to survive long term. Okay, let's see. Let's have a look at the label. Lobivia winteriana. Yeah, good, nice. So I would spray them, and then I start moving them into the soil. This comes out, can be reused in the garden, outside, just not in the house. Okay. Yeah, and I will move the seedlings one after the other into the soil. Of course, you need to look into this, have to inspect every single seedling. Look for problems, look for infections. Sometimes if the root system is already mangled up, you can see it. Just careful that you do not injure the little seedlings with something like, you know, with the tweezer or whatever what you're using. If you're using a pencil, with the tip of the pencil, gotta be careful about that. Yeah, okay, a little bit more water again. Just spraying them a little bit more. Yeah, and I really got to say, like the way we are growing the seedlings here, that is perfect for indoors. Having control over the environment, being able to, you have no drip water inside, that kind of stuff. If you were using this kind of soil in a greenhouse just for seedlings, it could end problematic. Like you could run into trouble. You could lose seedlings here and there due to humidity. If you have drip water that is hitting this kind of soil, then you can lose seedlings. So having them inside now is necessary. I put together a shelf where I can nicely place the seedlings, and that will allow me to grow them within the first year. And then they come out when they are already big enough to survive the frost. Yeah. So here's a big piece of wood that I want to take out. Here's another one. Sometimes when you take out the wood, you suddenly have big holes everywhere in the soil, in the top layer. It's also not good. A little bit more water. Okay. Yeah, just trying to move the seedlings into the soil. And in this container, in this particular one, I feel like we had a little bad luck picking the top, like what we picked here for the top layer, because there was a lot of wood in it, and it resulted in a rather uneven top layer, and I hate that. Like, I mean, I don't put a top layer on it, but I mean the top soil that always needs to dry out fast, and if it's full of crap, full of stuff that can trap humidity, that's not good. Okay. Yeah, for now this is okay. We will have to correct here. When you repotted seedlings that are coming from a different container, you might always have to correct, and that is not a problem. Every time we water, something will change. The seedling will fall over. Doesn't matter. On the long run, that will be all right. This will now come to the lamp. I let that dry out. And the next time it is completely dry again, it will be watered again. And when I water, I probably have them here. And we will correct the seedlings that are still a little bit crooked, a little bit messed up. Okay, so these here, I would love to repot them, but we have to do that next time. They will just get water now. Yeah, I think I ran out of pots now. For the next time, every time I'm doing a live stream, I clean maybe 5-6 pots before I'm doing it. And yeah, and they go fast when you're doing it like this. You know, you have seen the seedlings. I have these for a while here beside me, and they need to be singled out. So maybe I'm doing a special video where I'm just doing that one pot. So this needs a little bit more water, and then it will get back to the lamp. Long term, these come out of that pot very soon. I want to have them in the new soil. It's not the pot, it's the soil that I want to have them in, and this one is the old one. Okay, these, same. Very much the same. I would love to repot them. Let me inspect that, because these here, they look great. I like the seedlings. and I wanna see them succeed. But now, I don't know. The soil looks like it. Here's a seedling that we lost. Just remnants of a seedling. Yeah, we need to repot these. We can't leave them like that. So let me see if I have another pot here. Okay. Yeah, we will have to move these. They are just in absolute urgent need for new soil. Okay. So, let's spray the soil a little just to make it flexible to not rip off the root, and then they come into the new one. Okay. This time I really tried to water a little bit more. And this time it worked. So what I want to do here with these, I want to really clean them well. This is one of the pots where I don't like how the soil looks. I didn't like to see that one seedling that is suddenly gone. Check this out. I'm not sure if it's visible, but there's a little brown spot at the base. I don't like that at all. This is the kind of beginning from bad soil. So I cleaned that up, but we have to keep an eye on that. Just trying to put it in the soil now. Clean soil, really cleaning every root very, very well. I don't want to bring anything into the new pot, into the new soil. Yeah. Something's not good with these. Yeah, good that we took them out. When I just saw that one seedling here, these should have been moved into new soil maybe a couple of weeks ago. Sometimes it's just easier to control new soil than old soil. Oh. I ripped off the root. That's the price that you sometimes pay when you want to clean it very well. Sometimes you clean too much. I will try to root that one seedling. We will try it out. It already is a little bigger. It has a chance. It's just not perfectly safe, but it has a chance, you know. I've been setting up the live stream again. I realized that I've been probably having the all messages in the live chat turned off. So just so you know, it's on now again. It's the normal live stream again, the way it usually is. The fact that the live stream crashed earlier kind of made me had that turned off again. Okay. Yeah. Most of the seedlings look okay. But it was really overdue that we did it. And of course, you can always keep them in the same soil for longer. The fact that we're repotting so often, that is just because it's safer. It doesn't mean that it can't work without doing that. But the more often you kind of don't do it, at some point luck will run out, you know, and you will lose those from time to time. And if you don't let that happen, you can get a few really cool seedlings that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. Okay, so let me see what we have here. This even, I don't know which side's up. I tried to clean it a little bit on a piece of kitchen paper. Okay. Yeah, these are hybrids, multi-hybrids, Candicans, Sörensia Candicans hybrids. But with the interesting columnar as a father, so there's potential for freaky growth. So here's a seedling where I ripped off the root. Check it out. I want to show you that this was a healthy seedling. This was my fault. Now we could graft that. In order to do that, we would have to clean it well. And the environment here is too dirty, so we couldn't do that right now. But it's something that we could keep in mind. You know, it might be worth a try. I could also put that thing back into the soil, just hoping it would root. Probably wouldn't work, but it could. It has potential. But very often, there's an injury here, so that wound needs a little time to callus. And if you put it into wet soil now, the dirt will seep into the seedling and cause an infection. So yeah, I would put them in the soil now. That one seedling here, I turned it around now. I don't want to make a decision what to do with it now, but I want the wound pointing upwards now. Just for maybe a couple of weeks under the grow lamp, this can already callus that kind of wound. So I will just turn it around, put it on top of the soil, and later we will decide what we do with it. We can graft it if we want. The seedling looks healthy. It has the potential to be grafted. But right now I don't have a grafting stock here, and with all the mud that is here, we would have to do that on a day when everything is clean. So yeah, moving the other seedlings into the soil now, and always watering in between. I'm glad that we repotted them now. This is the type of stuff that I wanted to repot for a while, so quite happy that they are now in a new soil. There's nothing a new soil can't heal. Like, that's the kind of saying that they used to say when you're moving to another city. There's nothing a new city can't heal. And it is a little bit true with the seedlings, because so much of the problems that you have with them has to do with soil, sometimes with water, but soil plays a big part. And so if something goes bad, the first way to do something can be repotting. And with seedlings, every little bit of repotting helps them. Just don't damage them, don't stress them too much, but just repotting is not bad for them. Repotting them in the wrong soil, however, is. You know, you always have to make sure that if you repot them, that new soil is really good. It really dries. Sometimes it can be better to leave seedlings in the old soil if the new one is just bad, you know? So keep that in mind. Okay, a little bit more watering here. And that's probably what I would be doing until the end of the live stream, just watering. Because I have so many seedlings that need water. And these are the smaller seedlings that I'm spraying right now, that are still in need, that can still use it. Yeah, let's do this a little bit more efficiently. Yeah, and I would spray all the seedlings now, also to clean them. You know, I've been repotting a lot today, so I want them clean when they come under the lamp. I don't want to move them under the lamp, completely covered in mud, completely baked in mud. If you have the seedling, and if the seedling is free and gets light, it's a totally different thing when they are under a lamp. Clean seedlings standing upright in the soil is usually great for them when you have them under the lamp. Okay. Here's a seedling that I just want to pick back up. One of them has fallen over. Nothing bad, but it's just something that we should deal with. Okay, here's another one, a little bit deeper. Okay. These here are, by the way, these are dehydrated and should come out of the pot. Next time we will continue to repot. Today it wasn't enough for these, but they are on the list, and eventually they will be repotted. They will be sometimes split up into 2 pots, like when you have so many like these here, they need to come maybe even in 3. And here, I am not sure if we will keep all of those. This is just excessive. Yeah. This needs water. You can see a little bit of dehydration here. Nothing bad, but they need the water now. They're in a new soil, and that new soil is really nice and dry. Dries out faster than the other soil, but still stays flexible a little. Means it can provide water to the seedlings a little better. If you have soil that is completely baked in, completely bricked, then you put in water, but it often doesn't even get through the top layer that is so hard, so firm. Yeah, and that's why a lot of the seedlings in the new soil, then they are finally doing better. You know, you can really see them appreciate that new soil that they have been getting. Okay. Yeah, here are some small ones that need water too. Absolutely necessary. 28% with my battery. Yeah, now it works. Now it has been charging. But it's so easy, like with these like Samsung smartphones. It's so easy that the charger slips out, and I don't know what it is, but that system is prone to having problems with the charger. After 3 or 4 months, they stop working because they get dirt in them. Yeah, and it's an issue that I always have with Samsung. I would love to see that they do something about that charger, just making it more reliable. Okay. So these here, tiny seedlings, genetically tiny, very hard. Like if we can get 2 or 3 of these, then it's a success. So for now, just watering, and I water twice or a few more times to make sure that they really have that water. Sometimes in the beginning, when everything's so dry, it might not get to the seedlings right away, or it's gone right away. If we eventually have 1 or 2 of these, it would already be a success. You have those. Sometimes you have those crosses where you really have to fight for every seedling, and this looks like one of them. Here, these would come out of the soil. This is also candidate for repotting because it's too deep. Because the seedlings look great, actually, they have potential. They look healthy, but this is just unhealthy soil. So this comes out in one of the next live streams. For now, just water. One of the next live streams, these will be repotted. I will try to get new sowing soil so we can continue to repot. Maybe I can buy a few more pots. I need a little bit, I need bigger pots for the chili And I need a few big pots for the cacti in summer. And also these here, this kind of size, I need those too. These come out here. This is absolutely necessary to bring them out. I don't like how deep they are. And the combination of the first generation soil, which was so woody, had a lot of pieces of wood in it. And this is screaming to me, take me out and put me in a new pot. For now, they are growing normally, but they could be so much better. If they're doing good in this soil, they would be doing so much better in a new one. Here I have 3 seedlings that look really bad, to be honest. They've already been doing poorly from the beginning. And now I need to really start watering them on a regular basis to not lose them. These just look bad. So let me see. Yeah, they need more water. They need more water. Sometimes the seedlings need more water than you can give them within one day. Like sometimes the soil dries out so fast that you should water them a second time during the day. Especially in the beginning, the smaller the seedling, the more often you might have to water them when they are out of humidity. In the beginning, if you have them in a bag, then they always have the same kind of climate, always have the same kind of humidity. But the moment you have them out, you have to compensate for that. So these here need to come into a new container. These are okay. They have space. This is enough space for them. But you have variegated seedlings in between that we will lose probably. They would have to be grafted now. Everything that is completely albino needs to be grafted usually. And yeah, we would see what we do with them. I don't think I want to keep them around for long. We might graft 1 or 2 just for curiosity reasons. But apart from that, I really want to focus on the healthy green seedlings. And these here also need more water. Everything in general, I'm watering all the time in every live stream. And the people who watch that live stream on a regular basis, they kind of get a feeling for how much water that is, how much water the seedlings need. Yeah, and I feel like that can be helpful for people who just get started with that thing and who completely underestimate how much water they need. I'm busy watering all the time. During the day, there's always something that needs water. Here, these, by the way, today I didn't get to a lot that I wanted to do, but these also need water. Check out how dry that thing looks like in between, and it's very light at that point. This is in for a watering and a good one. In this case, I usually try to not put in too much water into these here because they don't have drainage holes. But in this case, when the soil is so dry, I want to give it a little bit more time. So I will water a little bit more. Yeah, these here need water. Oh, there's so many that I didn't get to water today. Okay. Yeah, these need water. Apart from that, everything's going great. We are growing a lot of cool hybrids, cool flower hybrids. Also a few interesting cacti here and there in between just to show them. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of repotting work. You need to get new soil on a regular basis. When you're growing cacti, you need to be ready. You need to have the pots, you need to have the soil. And I'm the type of person, like when you're dealing with seedlings, repotting them right away saves you a lot of losses later on. Sometimes it's unnecessary. Sometimes you might have be able to leave them in the old soil a little longer, but then you might not have gotten the same kind of growth rate that you get when they are in a new soil. And also health, general health. Old soil in general just has the tendency to produce weaker seedlings than new one. Okay, yeah, I think this is enough. We will do the rest tomorrow again in the live stream. Right now, when I'm doing the live stream, I always have something that I didn't get to. We're doing a lot of different things, and I always try to pick the ones that are the most fun, or to make it have a fun live stream. So you're constantly changing in between. This place is a mess. I really try to, in the next days, my plan is to build a potting table where we can film, where we can repot with a nice camera beside me, and it's not so, not so confined space. So yeah, that will be my work for the next days. I'm building a nice studio for this planned live stream that it has become, and yeah, it's growing. It's becoming something nice, and now today I would start watering in the greenhouses. Thank you, mate. Same to you. I hope you are all right. Have a nice Sunday. Wishing you a great day. And again, later today, I would start watering. I would go outside. And I might also post something about the books, because I'm sorting out. I'm getting rid of the remaining stock that I have of the books. I'm not a book printer. I don't really want to stay in the book business forever. I enjoy doing the videos that I'm doing now. So I'm making space in the office. So yeah, thank you guys. It was a great live stream. Thank you for having had the patience and for having come back to me to the live stream. I appreciate it. And I will be back tomorrow. I hope you have a great day, everyone. And if you have questions, write them in the comments. And now we're coming with the new videos on a regular basis. Okay? Thank you, guys. I will be back tomorrow. Have a nice day.